Alright, guys, I just got home, drunk my G full to get ready for content, and I noticed something. Something I did not expect to happen. In Praise of Shadows, the guy who tried to cancel Wendigoon is now making content again, and he has seemed to make he made a response video on his second channel. Now, I haven't watched this yet. We're gonna go through this together, and I'm curious if he what his response is gonna be. Does he actually take genuine criticism over what was said? Because remember, it wasn't just like, haha, you a liberal. It was like the stuff he was grasping at straws on like any criticism of Wendigoon, right? Because like it was like he's a Nazi because he associates with notorious gun enthusiast. You know, his criticisms always started out with notorious gun enthusiast. It was really funny. But anyway, I digress. Let's watch this with an open mind. See what he has to say.
Hi. I don't really know
Turn the
how to
volume
start
booster
this,
on
so
for this.
I guess I'm just gonna start talking, I guess. It's been a while. Hope you've been okay. I didn't want to really use a script for this video because anything that I say will be talked negatively about. And if I
Well, that's the unfortunate thing, dude. It's just like if you try to cancel someone and it fails, you're gonna be negatively talked about. That's just how the rules work. We see this with a lot of content creators who like dip their toes into drama. Usually it fails for them and they have to like, turn tail and run. And then they're like, oh, the negativity. Well, it's like, you know that phrase, don't start nothing, there won't be nothing. I feel like that really applied here because like what's ironic about that whole situation was apparently like he freaked out because Wendigoon followed him. He thought that like Wendigoon was like planning his downfall. And apparently Wendigoon followed him in the first place because he just really liked his content. So like I don't know, this dude I mean I like okay, in all seriousness, I hope he's gotten some help, you know? Um but again, let's continue. We're only 16 minutes in. This is an 18-minute long video. I'm sorry, 16 seconds in. This is only an 18-minute long video. I genuinely do want to see what he has to say.
I'd used a written response, I felt like people would be like, oh, he's just, doing this for PR. I didn't want it to feel like a statement that a politician would put out. I just wanted to be me talking to you, human to human. So apologies if this is a bit rambly. This is a little different for me. I'm just gonna talk. And I guess I'll start with kind of a big piece of criticism was that like I just sort of disappeared. And I did that kind of for two reasons. One was that, of course, like anything that I said wasn't going to help the situation that was happening. And so I just left. And I didn't want to really talk about it, and this is the last time I'm ever going to publicly talk about the situation again. I just also felt that people would be kind of like annoyed if I like tried to like come back and start making things again and just pretend like nothing ever happened. I didn't want to do that. Also, like, I don't really know how to make this video because the history of like, YouTube apology videos is like a format that is consistently made fun of for good reason. And I'm not anti-apology at all. I'm not. It's just that like usually like someone who works on the internet will mess up and then like immediately will put out like an apology video and be like, I'm not that person anymore. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've changed, guys. And it's complete bullshit. Everybody knows that it's bullshit because you're like, what do you mean you're not that person anymore? You just said that thing 2 days ago. Of course you're that person. And so like with my situation, I said I was going to be gone for a month. Clearly I needed a break. I wasn't doing very well. And
Did he get a job? I'm wondering if he got a job because he talked about how like he wasn't able to like pay rent anymore with his YouTube money, and oh my god, it must have went massively downhill since this whole drama happened.
I ended up taking more than that because I wasn't ready to come back. And I really wanted to come back with something that showed what I could do, that showed that I would be willing to listen to criticism of me, because I always am. I always want to do better. And so I hope that the John Waters video has kind of shown that. This was kind of a wake up call moment for me. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And I guess one of the main things I wanted to talk about here is that, like, you know, when you do anything in a very public way that it isn't received particularly well, people are going to do two things, which is like ascribe a motive for why you did that thing.
Well, I mean, like there's no mystery to your motive. Your motive was pretty obvious. You wanted to cancel Wendigoon. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't know why you're suddenly trying to skate around that. What's the point in calling him a racist if not to try and take away his platform?
And also wildly speculate about yourself to put attributes onto you, you know, that often aren't true.
Which is ironic because you did that exact same thing with Wendigoon. You did that same thing by calling him a racist when he's not a racist. You gave him attributes which he did not have, that you had no basis for, and it blew up in your face, man. I don't know. Okay. Only two minutes in. Only 2 minutes in. Maybe he'll actually like directly talk about some stuff. It is 18 minutes long. I'm just hoping we get some actual like direct, like, here's what they said, I was wrong about this.
And you know, I probably definitely am guilty of doing that in the past, even in the bad conservative horror movie video. So I kind of wanted to talk more.
Okay, well, at least he admits that. But like, he's kind of vague. Like, can you name the specific stuff that you falsely attributed to Wendigoon and Brandon and everyone else you slandered on that video?
More about me here than other people, which is something I don't really do all that much. One of the biggest things that has kind of always surprised me my whole like career on YouTube is people thinking that I hate Christians. And I don't at all. I don't hate religious people.
But that's how you came off in that video, though. It's like your main thing against Wendigoon, like, seemingly was that he was a Christian and that he liked guns. That's how it came off. Like, and if that's not how you genuinely, if that's not what you genuinely believe, then you did a terrible job at portraying your own beliefs in that.
People at all. I myself am a Methodist, and I have gone to annual conference with the Methodists for the past, I think, 4 years because I have an invested interest in how the church is dealing with LGBT members, which is an ongoing thing with the Methodists. I don't hate Christians at all. I can be very critical of Christians. I don't like evangelicals. I don't like proselytizers. And usually if I'm being critical of...
I wouldn't even call Wendigoon an evangelicus. He's just very passionate about his faith, to the point where he'll make videos on his faith. I mean, aspects of his faith. And if I'm being completely honest with you, those are videos from him I tend to ignore. But still, I mean, it's his platform. He's allowed to do what he wants with it, man. Like,
of religious people, it's because they're using the religion as part of their online brand. And if you're like mixing money or your business with your religion, that is almost certainly like a perversion of whatever your religion is teaching. And, I don't want to get into any things. I'm not trying to...
Hang on. Let me look up Wendigoon's more religious videos real quick, because I don't even think those are his most popular videos on his channel. If I go to like the main Wendigoon channel, I think he purely does them just because he wants to, not because they make him money. Now, obviously, he gets ad revenue either way if something's not popular on his channel, right? I mean, this is a guy with almost 4 million subscribers. Of course, he's going to get a decent chunk of change for any videos. Let's see. Let me look up here real quick. No, nothing really. Well, let's see. 9 types of biblical angels explained. 3 years ago, 6.8 million views. Bible theory iceberg explained, 6.8 million views. Okay, so it hit. So um, the Christian stuff does get him views, but it's like also too like do I guess at that point do I expect him not to talk about religion if he's a Christian and he's passionate about it, right?
Like double down here with what I'm saying in this. I'm not trying to like critique people. I'm just trying to talk about where I come from with things. Because I'm realizing like a big issue with my writing is saying something and just assuming that people understand what I mean. And
That was a major issue with his video on Wendigoon, or I'm sorry, the section on Wendigoon. It's just like he really didn't explain a whole lot. He didn't really show a whole lot of evidence. It's just like Wendigoon is friends with notorious such and such, and that's why he's a bad person. You know.
instead of actually trying to explain my point more, because I cover a lot of points in videos, and sometimes I'm guilty of hitting a point really quick and then moving on. Especially because I kind of am also guilty of making a lot of my work assuming wrongly that people are familiar with my past and my like work as well. I kind of make every video,
And I think that speaks more to your ego than anything else. It's like you just expect people to know everything about you. Because look at me, I'm in Praise of Shadows. I'm such a great video essayist. You know, it's just annoying.
or did make every video as a sequel to all of my previous work. And that kind of came up twice with the Bad Conservative Horror Movie video. One was an offhanded mention to Lovecraft that I talked about, where people were like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, and you know, like, because I had made like a 2-hour video about Lovecraft in the past, I felt like I could just make an offhanded, like, quick one sentence reference to Lovecraft and it not be a big deal and not explain it. You know what I mean? Because I just assumed people will get what I'm talking about because of that video. And another big one that came with is when I talked about race in Appalachia.
Yeah. Mr. White Boy over here talking about race.
A lot of people weirdly thought that I was northern or not from Appalachia. People were saying like, you know, Appalachia sends its regards and shit like that. But like, you know, I've lived in the Appalachian Mountains basically my whole life. And I made like a 2+ hour video explaining my complicated views of the American South with the Joanne Denton video, where I talked about how like I love North Carolina and how I've lived here my entire life and how much of an impact this place has had on me. But also to pretend that the South doesn't have a major problem with racism is like kind of insane, you know. And I talk in that video about like the heavy Klan presence in areas of North Carolina. I talk about casual social racism and stuff like that. So like I felt like I was okay to make a one sentence like throwaway thing because I'd already explained my position on that in the past.
Well, it's like if you're making an exposed video on someone, right? Like when I make a video, or at least when I initially break a topic, and it's not like update video number 5, you know? It's like with the Cine Bear drama, with the episode 3 of Troublemakers, even though the majority of the audience members who watch that episode are probably more than familiar with the Cine Bear drama, we did reiterate what the initial cause of this whole thing was, because like there are going to be people who just don't know what happened, right? And you kind of need to make sure you make your videos in a way so that way someone can like come in without knowing the topic and then walk away with fully understanding everything. At least if you're going to be like this kind of like video essayist who like, you know, puts quote unquote like high quality effort and production into their work, you know, you want to make sure that you're carefully bring the viewer along with the narrative that you're trying to make. Your Wendigoon section was just a complete mess where it's just like it went from like one thing after another and there was no cohesive point made.
I don't hate Appalachians. I live here. And I have chosen to live here for a long time now. And, the reaction to that in particular, I think, was really strong. And, there was also a lot of criticism saying that, like, I didn't handle the situation gracefully, which I didn't. But also, I'd like to see anybody that would. Things got really intense there. My entire town a few weeks ago was basically destroyed from the hurricane. And, like, there were, like, tweets still 5 months later saying, well, at least in Praise of Shadows probably died in that.
Who's tweeting that out? Also, like, I think this is like your main issue, man, is that you're actively looking for hate on yourself. At least that's that's what it seems like. You're actively looking for what people have to say negatively about you. And like, you seem to be at one point a successful content creator. So you should know that, like, you really shouldn't put stock into what, like, a bunch of, like, trolls say, unless, like, you're facing, like, legitimate criticism, like you were with, like, the Wendigoon stuff. But it's just like, dude, like, if you actively search out, like, negative criticism on yourself, you're just gonna feel horrible all the time. You shouldn't do that.
Oh, things were really, really hot and uncomfortable. You didn't see the best side of me in that. And that's all that I can say is, it was a bad day for me. It was a bad period for me. I was kind of made into this, like, cartoon character where I am impossible to get along with people who are on the right, which is actually not true at all. I know this sounds
that's how you came off in your video, though. Like, you need to understand, like, the reason why people came to the conclusions that they did about your video was because that's how you came off. You came off as, like, the smarmy liberal who wants to tell everyone how it is, even though he's more than likely probably a little bit more racist than some conservatives. But, I digress.
like made up, but the guy that I hired to work on the set with me for the John Waters video was wearing a Make America Great Again hat like the entire time we were working. But he does a good job. And that's just the realities of living in the American South. I am not this insane person who, like, it's impossible to get along with. So, yeah. And with the Appalachian thing came an added commentary that I was kind of surprised about, where a lot of people said that I hate poor people or I look down on people, that I, like, hate lower income individuals, which, like, I'm a lower income individual in Appalachia.
Was that... was it because was he making comments about how, like, poor white people are often, like, more racist or something? There had to, like, I would have to rewatch his Wendigoon section specifically. Unfortunately, obviously, we're focusing on this video right now, so I don't have the time for that. But it's like he just came off just really self-absorbed in that video. And if that's not who you are, okay, that's fine. But again, you did such a horrible job with portraying your points yourself in that video that everyone who wasn't in your fan base came off thinking, like, this guy is so up his, like, you know that South Park episode where Kyle's parents go to California and they just love the smell of their own farts? Like, that's how this guy comes off, honestly.
Like, I don't hate anybody like that. I don't hate anybody at all. I think that everybody should have their needs met no matter what they believe. As far as, like, reviews are concerned, I am gay, and with that comes, like, a certain level of snobbery with, like, the arts and stuff like that. But because I, like, have high expectations of works of art does not mean that I hate poor people. Okay, I don't think that certain people should be in power. I don't think that certain people should have social power. And in that, I kind of want to get into the conservative video itself. Okay, so...
Oh boy, here we go.
In the, like, hating poor people thing, apparently I also don't like normal guys. And, like, the thing that's kind of funny about that is that, like...
Oh, like, okay, I'm sorry. This is relating. But, like, he tried to, like, make it seem like Wendigoon was racist because he always wore Hawaiian shirts in his videos. And... and he's like, well, you see, there's this ultra right-wing group that's associated with Hawaiian shirts. This is clearly a signal by Wendigoon that he's a racist. And I was like, what? Dude, you're like Alex Jones connecting the dots that definitely aren't there.
Like, kind of this whole situation came about because I was a normal guy. So, like, I'm notoriously
He's just a normal guy. He's just a normal guy.
difficult to get a hold of. And that's because I'm not really online at all. I don't tweet. I genuinely don't spend much time on Twitter at all. I don't have any other social media. Before this, I was getting on Discord like once every like 6 months. For the most part, I'm not friends with other online content creators. I probably watch in between 3 and 5 YouTube videos a month. And that is not like a dig at other YouTubers. That's not saying that they don't make excellent work, because there's a lot of great work on YouTube. But like, it comes to like this thing where like, back when I used to make comics, I would draw comics all day. And the last thing I'd want to do when I finished drawing for 10 hours would be to like pick up comics and read them before I went to bed. You know, like, I didn't want my entire existence to be comics. I wanted inspiration from everywhere in my life. And so I used to watch a lot of YouTube, like back before I was a YouTuber. But then I started making videos, and you know, I make videos all day long, and I don't want to like turn around and then like watch more YouTube videos. So like, when I say I don't watch like a lot of YouTube, it's not to put down other creators, but just to try and to explain how this situation happened, because the why is kind of, you know, self-apparent. And so when you're not an online person, but you feel compelled to write a piece about online culture, looking at it from a distance, trying to figure out what is real, it's a different kind of research. And I totally was not the guy to do that job. I felt like it was important. I felt like nobody else would do it. And I knew that the reaction was not going to be good. I knew it was going to be bad. So kind of most of my mistakes and problems came from that, though. Because like, I didn't know who Sneeko was before I made that video. And I didn't really know who he was when I posted that video. And
God. Yeah, there was Brandon Buckingham was also mentioned in that video. It wasn't just Wendigoon that he was trying to slander. It was a lot of people who were associated with Wendigoon. Brandon Buckingham was accused of wanting to R-word Sneeko's girlfriend. This is provably false because of the Instagram post, tweets, various other stuff. And it was really weird to make a section of a video that's supposed to take down conservative creators and then prop up a not even just a conservative, a fucking Nazi. Because that's what Sneeko is. He's like the closest thing like a black dude can be to a Nazi. Like that's what the fuck he is, you know? He's a guy who just openly hates a particular group of people, you know. He hates everyone who disagrees with him, and like says that if if you don't agree with his line of thinking, then you're the enemy. It's very concerning rhetoric.
And so while it's like really serious, and I admit that, and I am sorry, I took the video down like immediately because I realized the video had major problems. But like, it also at the same time, in retrospect, is a little bit funny that I tried to be like, this guy's the fucking worst. At least, you know, according to Hitler. And like, you know, I fucked it. I fucked it pretty bad.
Also, you used an image of Brandon's grandfather in the hospital. Like, that was pretty fucked up, dude. That was massively fucked up.
And there's not really a lot else I can say about it. You know, what's done is done. I can't take it back. But also, ultimately, that's like what a whole section of YouTube is about. I may have done that really badly, but like, there are channels that just exist just to talk shit about people like all the time.
Okay, if you're talking about commentary channels at this point, like, at least for me, right? Like, I'm a shit poster, okay? I'm part of what people consider, like, slop commentary. You know, I'm small commentary, slop commentary, that type of thing. But, like, I try to get stuff right. I try to do research, and if I get something wrong, I am fully willing to admit when I'm fucking wrong. You're just like pinning it off of like, yeah, I was wrong, but there are a ton of other people who like talk about drama. That's not like my guy. That's it's not a good idea. Not a good idea.
And I don't want to be that guy. I'm not trying to be that guy.
You are you are that guy, pal.
Not trying to escalate the situation. I'm just trying to describe my perspective of how this happened, because at the end of the day, everything's fine. You know, I fucked up, but also nobody that I mentioned in that video was harmed at all. You know,
Well, because your video was just that bad. Like that's the reality of the situation. Nobody was harmed but you because your video was just that bad. But the intentions of that video were pretty clear. You were trying to take down Brandon, take down Wendigoon especially, and anyone who like was friends with them. Turkey Tom, Donut Operator. That like, come on, dude. You can't sit there and tell me like it's like if like someone with a car is trying to run someone over and they fail at it, right? And they're just like, well, no one got hurt. But the point is you're actively trying to hurt someone is the thing.
you know, everybody's doing fine, and that's kind of like how that genre of YouTube works anyways. The whole drama machine ultimately just exists for money, and I shouldn't have been a part of that.
It just exists for money. Which, I'm sorry, wasn't that something you desperately needed? You talked about how, like, you can't afford rent anymore with your fucking YouTube bucks. Isn't that right, buddy? sound a bit jealous there.
I shouldn't have contributed to that. I felt like there were important points to make. I did not word them well. I had no fucking chill. I could have done pretty much everything in that.
Oh. I mean,
Better, but you live and learn. You know, I don't know what else to say. Other than I will do better, and I kind of want to get into like personal criticisms against myself now, because I think that's a good segue. So like, with that video, there was a lot of comparison to the Dan Olson video that came out soon after mine and the H Bomber Guy plagiarism video. There was a lot of like comparing the three of us, and I think like the only commonality between those three videos is YouTubers talking about YouTubers, with two of them being good videos and one of them being...
wait, who made those comparisons? Was it Nick? Who? Like, I'm gonna have to relook. Like, who made those comparisons? Also, oh my god, my camera froze. Camera, why you gotta do this to me, camera? We're trying to record right now, camera. Okay. Technical difficulties, but I digress. Here we go.
being like a really bad video. But people were ascribing like saying that I was jealous, and that's why I was making that video. And I just want to say I am not a jealous man, and I never have been. I have never made a single video on YouTube to chase trends. I have never made a video because someone made a popular video.
Wait, hang on.
Like that. You know, that is not the kind of guy that I am.
But like, didn't you talk about how like you only made like your popular videos because like it was the only thing that that like gave you any traction, that gave you like any sort of money off YouTube? I remember that being a massive complaint in your video. Hang on. That like you had to like chase trends in order to make a living off of YouTube. In fact, wasn't that in like the section where you advertise? That was in the section where you advertised your Patreon, man. Hold on.
And I never will be. I've always made what I think is interesting, what I am compelled to do, what I think is right to do. You know, I can definitely work on my tone with critical pieces, but like I wasn't doing that video as a ripoff of somebody else's style. You know, for better or worse, that video was authentically me. And to prove that, you can go back and watch the video on Encyclopocalypse that I did the previous summer that has like the exact same tone and wording and style and presentation of that bad conservative horror movie video. You know, they're very, very similar. I feel like as far as critically, this was very me. If it came across as being a ripoff of somebody else, that was not the goal. You know, I feel like that came across to some people and not to some people, but that's all I have to say on that. But similarly to the Encyclopocalypse video, I wasn't trying to ruin anybody's life. I wasn't doing this because I wanted a lot.
It certainly didn't come off like that. It came off as like Wendigoon's a no. You directly said that like Wendigoon's a bad person, and then he needs to be taken away from this space because he doesn't understand horror like liberals do. Like, what do you mean you weren't trying to ruin his life? You were directly trying to like take away his ability to do YouTube and stuff, man.
A lot of views. In fact, I did know that people were going to hate this. You can go back on my Twitter and like weeks before I posted it, I said, my next project people are really going to hate. If I said that people are really going to hate this, then that doesn't line up with the narrative of me doing it because I wanted to be popular. You know, with the jealousy thing, like it feels very strange to me because to my ears, it's like critiquing the president and saying something that you don't like that the president did. And then
but like, hey, like, dude, like that wasn't an unfounded criticism you got though. It just like the way you talked about Wendigoon getting popular, and then like liberal horror creators like yourself, it just came off as like why does he get to be popular and I don't? Especially with like the Patreon section of your video where you're talking about how you can't make rent with YouTube money anymore. Like that's why people were saying you were jealous, man. Again, I would have to like rewatch the entire section again because I'm unfortunately right now I'm going off just based off of memory. But like, my God, dude, don't pretend like it wasn't unfounded.
then somebody saying, well, you're just saying that because you want to be president. And like, no, I assure you, I don't want to be the president. Critical pieces can exist on people without them like destroying people. And I actually say that in the bad conservative horror movie video. I said with the John Squire section of that video that I don't want to ruin people's lives because of things that they've said, that I think that we should be forgiving and open to people changing. And if it was just some like dumb thing said like as an 18-year-old, who gives a shit? Everybody said really dumb things when they were a kid, and that shouldn't be held against them. I just saw things that I disagreed with from people that I felt like had a big public platform.
By the way, this is not important to the video whatsoever, but he looks like a Midwestern dude who's about to do a really bad like stand-up mic night. Does he not look like he's like, oh yeah, there, bud. So I'm gonna go up on there on stage and I'm gonna talk about my carburetor and my wife and my beer.
Being critical of that doesn't mean that you want their lives to be ruined. You know, I ultimately was making that as an invitation for wanting people to do better. And if the one person
Wendigoon, you have to do better. Like, oh, come, so says me in Praise of Shadows.
Who comes out a bad conservative horror movie deciding to do better is me, then that's a good thing. You know, one of the major criticisms of me that came up a lot in that time period was related to citing sources, which I fully upfront admit I can be a lot better at. And starting from now, I will be. The John Waters video, if you go and look at it, has a full works cited in the description. Historically, I do like try and show where I get my information from, but I always tried to do it in a visual way. Historically, you know, I would say like, according to Variety, and then I'd throw up a screenshot of the Variety article, you know, and post that so everybody could see the title and where I got it from, but being done in kind of a fun visual way. Clearly, people don't really like that, so I can do a full traditional like works cited where I list everything from now on. You know, my entire career I have tried to approach everything with compassion and understanding and love. And you don't have to believe that, but I hope that my track record shows that. You saw me on a really bad day. And I have tried for the past 5 months to really reckon with that and actually confront that. You know, I didn't want to put out like an apology video 2 days afterwards because nobody learns things in 2 days. That's just reacting. It's not listening to what people say and acting. And there's a big difference there. And like everyone, I'm a work in progress. You know, I want to be the best me that I can be. And I'm not saying that to protect my money. I'm not saying that to protect my reputation. I'm saying that because it's true. And if I wanted to protect my money, you know, or my reputation, I would have done this on like the main channel. You're only watching this if you sought this out, you know?
Or I saw it on Twitter.
So it is what it is. People can think what they want of me. I will continue to do better. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm sorry for everything. Genuinely, where I fucked up, for not having any chill, for just being a kind of an asshole. So I guess that's where I'm going to leave this. I'm going to be doing more videos on here. I'm going to try and do like near weekly videos on here. I think that's kind of fun. I'm going to try and do, they won't be unscripted like this. They will be scripted, but they will be shorter form. Like I'm aiming for like 10 to 20 minute videos on like obscure, weirder movies. A lot of them not really good movies, but interesting in their badness or amateurness, you know? And hopefully that'll be a good time. And then for the main channel, I'm just going to focus on like really big videos there that I put like everything I have into, you know, like I did with the John Waters one. So what I'm going to do on the main channel is probably like every other video, like I'll do like franchise video, then big video, then franchise.
All right. So how do I feel about this? It's good he acknowledged like the Sneeko stuff. Although I think it's more like in terms of like his lefty audience, he absolutely had to acknowledge the Sneeko section of that takedown video. He didn't mention Wendigoon once in this entire thing. He just vaguely talks about the criticisms he got in the Wendigoon section of the video. He said sorry, but it seems it's more of like he's just saying that to get people off his back, because he seems to defend a lot of the stuff that he actively engaged in that video, and pretending like it wasn't what his intentions were, even though it was very clear that his intentions were to diminish and to ruin Wendigoon's career. So if I'm being completely honest, which, you know, who knows, I might be in the minority on this, I don't think this was a good apology video. I think he put this on the second channel so that way he didn't have to face as much backlash. Well, guys, this is Nerdy John, and I wanted to thank all the members of the channel. First off, we gotta thank Pigeon Salad for being a Super Nerd 3. We gotta thank the Den of Tims for being a Super Nerd 2. And then finally, we gotta thank the Super Nerd 1s, which you can join for just 99 cents. We have Pudgy the Bimbo, GG Hearts, Lady Nerdist, J1K, K-Huck, McMuffin, Daniel J, and Annie. Thank you guys for all your support. It's thanks to you that videos like this are possible. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Just tune in for every Sunday and Thursday where we do a morning show called Nerdy Live. Anyway, I'm out. Take care.